I wasn't taking any talk. Because you said something to me, I'm taking that as a disrespect, and if you disrespect me, you know what comes after. The Bible says a foolish man learns from his own mistake, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. You can't be too prideful. You can't let your pride and your ego consume you, because those things will always come before destruction. Hey YouTube, I'm Tavain, but you guys can call me T. You can never become too prideful. Pride comes before destruction. If there is ever any point in life where your pride and your ego gets too big, you will surely die because of that. If your pride gets too big and out of control, it will lead to your death. There was a point in time when I got too prideful, when I created my first YouTube channel and it's taking off, when I used to post my music and I'm making money off of music, bro. I used to get money through DistroKid, through the streamings and all of that, bro. And everything was just flowing, everything was just connecting, and I saw the results and I'm like, yeah, I'm him, I'm that nigga. There was even a point where I'm like, yo, all my progress, all my work is building, all of my progress is coming through, dog. I got my muscles, my business, everything, ideas just flowing. My YouTube is rising, and I became too prideful. I thought that, yo, my shit starts stink now, dog. When I walk around, people stop and look at me. That's how I felt. I felt the confidence radiating from myself, bro. And because of that, I felt like, yo, no one could talk to me. I wasn't taking any talk. Because you said something to me, I'm taking that as a disrespect. And if you disrespect me, you know what comes after. I was moving like him, bro. And you know what happened next? God humbled me. God said, yo, ease yourself, juvenile. God put me in a state where, yo, I crumble. Everything that made me feel like, yo, I was him, slowly stopped with the momentum. Everything just watered down, slowed down. And all of those things that gave me the pride, gave me the confidence, just fizzled out, dog. And I was left all alone. See, the next thing too, you can't take materialistic things and use those to build your confidence. Your confidence have to come from internally. Internal confidence. That's what you have to use. You can't use materialistic things and use those as, say, yo, I'm valued. You can't use money and say, yo, you are valued, because what happens when the money leaves? What happens when you get too old and wrinkled? Are you still going to be him because of your looks? What happened about when all your physical features and everything that you were capable of doing leaves you, or you're in an accident, God forbid, and you're unable to do those stuff again? Are you still going to be confident? But I was saying that, like, you can't be too prideful. If it gets to a point where you think, yo, there's nothing more for me to learn because I know everything, you're setting yourself up for failure. Yo, I'm still a student. There's so much more things that I can learn in every field. I know that I'm not the greatest at YouTube. I know I'm not the greatest at trading. I know I'm not the greatest at the gym, bro. I know I'm not the greatest at reading. As much as, yo, I have an expert level at doing things, and I feel like I know it all, I'm still a student. There's so much more for me to learn. But the moment, yo, I say I'm unteachable is the moment that there's nothing more for me to learn. And it's not that, yo, I learn everything. It's because I'm limiting myself. I say, oh, I know everything now, so there's nothing more for me to learn. I'm capping myself off. Yo, the universe is vast, bro. There's so much knowledge floating around. There's so much experience that different individuals have. And if I say, yo, none of these people can teach me, no, them niggas can't do what I can do, I'm diminishing my values, bro. Because if I can take something from you and add it to me, I'm building on to myself. And if I can pass on these knowledge to someone else, that's building on the next person. And if I say, oh, none of these niggas can teach me, no, only me can teach me things, I'm only passing on my experience to someone else. And my experience is limited. When I can learn from others, bro, the Bible says a foolish man learns from his own mistake, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. If I decide that, yo, I'm no longer a student and I'm a teacher now, and no one else can teach me shit, bro, like, I'm stupid, dog. I'm only going to make mistakes and have to learn from those. When I could view others, I can listen to their story and take from their mistakes and say, yo, all right, don't do this, don't do that, avoid certain things and avoid certain people. But you see, if you let your pride get in the way, bro, you're gonna feel like, oh, I can do anything. Pride was the first sin in the Bible, or the first sin in history, because the devil felt like, yo, he was more than God, or she deserved to be more than God. And what did that lead on to? It led on to his destruction. It led on to him getting banished. Pride was the first sin in history. That's why it is such a powerful sin. Yes, I know they say lust, and I deal with lust a lot. But another sin that I deal with very much is pride. I think the first video that I ever did on this channel was about forgiveness, pride, and stuff like that, bro. And I still struggle with my pride each and every day. There are certain moments where, yo, I see everything just coming together nicely, like all my efforts paying off. I'm getting the results. I'm reaping what I sowed. And I'm like, yo, I'm him. I'm that guy. And my pride's rising up. And in those moments, I have to think of things that makes me feel humble. I have to humble myself. Because if I don't, I know for sure that God will humble me. And God might humble me in a way where I'm like, yo, I can't even be confident for a while. So it better I humble myself. It better me ground myself and be like, yo, use this in a sense that, yo, I'm not being too prideful or this or that. Use my ego, push my ego where it allows me to do things that if I was humble, I wouldn't be able to do. Why not use your ego and your pride to do things which if you were too humble and timid, you weren't able to do? But no, some of us want to be too prideful. Some of us want to brag and boast on the next man and say, oh, yo, look at my rolly dog. Look at the chain on my neck. Look on my veneers. Look on my grills or whatever the shit them call, bro. I don't wear jewelry, dog. Like, you see this around my neck? One bead said me, the next one says Anna, and the third one said God. So I'm walking around with me and God. Otherwise, I don't wear jewelry, dog. Because I don't care. I don't care about the aesthetic. Yo, I'm not going to be too prideful and boast on the next person because, yo, I'm doing better than them. Yo, I'm not going to brag and boast on a person. That's just not my style. Because I know how it feels to have nothing. But at the same time, I'm aiming after something. I want to help others. Instead of accumulating everything for myself, why not accumulate and teach others how to accumulate the same thing? Instead of saying, yo, I got this on my own, why not say, yo, God was the one that helped me to get this. God placed people in my life who I learned from in order to become this version of myself. You can't be too prideful. You can't let your pride and your ego consume you, because those things will always come before destruction. I'm gonna tell you a story. I know of this one person, bro. They got so prideful. They're like, oh, you know, this, I could do this and that and that. Yeah, I know the story is pretty vague, but yo, just let's for a sec. Only for the person kept on bragging and boasting, and when it was time to execute the mission, they're like, what you do next? Like, they didn't know what to do, dog. And I was thinking, I'm like, brother, you're always the one being this overconfident. Your ego is always speaking for yourself. You're always bragging and boasting. But in this state, yo, you better fool yourself. I'm gonna give you a next story. I remember when I was younger, right? And I was making fun of my older brother. I'm like, yo, you don't know how to spell idiot. And my cousin was there and they're like, yo, spell idiot. And I said, yo, I-D-O-T. And they both started laughing at me. And yo, believe you me, the words were on my tongue, bro. Wipe on that. But yo, in my mind and the words I was saying, like, I spell idiot exactly how I spell I-D-I-O-T. but the words that came out was IDOT. And yo, in that moment, I'm like, yo, what happened there? I was puzzled, I was confused, because I'm like, yo, it's in my mind. I could see the words clear in my mind. I could see all the letters clear in my mind. And it felt like I was saying every letter, but the sound I was making, I was short one letter. Like it was on the tip of my tongue, that I, but I didn't say the I skipped over it. And they laughed at me, they clowned at me. And yo, in that moment, yo, I humbled myself. Yo, in that moment, God humbled me, bro. God humbled me, because yo, I was bragging, I was boasting. I'm like, yo, you're an idiot, you don't know if you spell idiot. So I was going around and they said, spell it. And every word was there and I spelled it. Got it wrong. Now they were clowning on me. I got humbled by God. And that was one of the moments that I realized that, yo, there's no sense in me being too egotistic. There's no sense in me being too prideful, because God will humble me. Because He doesn't want me to rely on my pride. He doesn't want my pride to consume me. He doesn't want my ego to consume me. You can't let your ego consume you. You can't be too prideful, because you will get humble. That's the video for the day. Don't be too prideful. Don't think that you are too much of a teacher to learn something else. Don't believe that, yo, you know too much to actually learn anything else. Don't believe that, yo, others don't count because you're him or you're that guy. There's so much more things to learn. Just open your eyes and realize. Peace.